Thanks everybody for coming. Really looking forward to talking to Paula Fisher today of Practical HR, who's done a fantastic job developing our HR Hub. All of you should be aware of this. You should have had your sign-ons, and it's also available and visible in our member support area, which provides wraparound support for our members to help their businesses recover and grow. So Paula's going to be talking to us today on how you can get the best out of your HR Hub, different things that are available, what you can do with it, and she'll also be talking a bit about HR audits. Take it away, Paula.
Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you and good morning, everybody. And as Laura said, we've developed the HR Hub. We hope it's going to be a fantastic resource. What I want to do this morning, very simply, is give you a very quick overview of how it works, just to give you a few hints and tips. And then I'm going to go into some areas in the introduction that will help you, guide you through bits and pieces. And I'm going to talk briefly about an HR audit as well. So everything I talk about today can be done and achieved on the HR Hub. So I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully you can all see my screen, and it will say the Ultimate HR Guide for SMEs, but most importantly at the top it says BITA, and it says Your HR Guide UK. That is because we are developing one for Ireland, but this one is specifically for UK. So this is your home screen. What you will need to do, you can look around without having to log in at all, but what you will need to do is that you will need to log in. And if you go up to this area here, that will allow you to log in, and you would have had your login details sent through from Laura. There are two membership levels on your HR Guide. There is the free membership that every member has been given. For some people, they may wish to upgrade, and exactly the same thing. If you wish to upgrade, you can go up here, but you'll also find that as you work through the site, some of the areas you may not be able to get to unless you upgrade, but there is a lot of information you can get to. There's over 50 templates. There's over 60 pages of guidance that you can get to completely free of charge. So let me explain how your HR Guide works. The obvious thing is that there is a search, and if you're not sure what you want to look for, you literally just type in the search. So if you typed in, for example, absence, it will then give you a list of everything to do with absence, including these are templates and these are pages of information, and there is a category. But before we do that, let me show you how we've broken down HR. So what we have here is that we have divided HR into 16 categories at the moment, because there will be more as we add more. You can see what they are. They're pretty obvious. We've got an introduction, which I'm going to talk about a little bit in a moment. Recruitment and new starters, administration, contracts, policies, holidays, absence, family friendly. We have training and development, disciplinary, grievance, equal opportunities, redundancy, ending employment, employment facts, which is lots of things like minimum wage and the current rates, and well-being. And as I said, we will be adding on more content. What you also have on this first page, if you scroll down, this is an area of latest content. And if you go into the latest content, it will tell you the latest things that have been uploaded onto the site. Now, today is the 25th of August. Don't know what date you're watching this. And yesterday we uploaded a case study on job descriptions, a case study on pregnancy and maternity, and a risk assessment for a pregnant employee in the office environment. And then what you have, because you have a regular membership, is that every time you'll get an email to say that there is a notification, and this here will have a little dot on it, and this you can see is the notification that tells you about what I've just talked about, and tells you how to get to everything there. So that's just how some of those little bits work. There are lots of other things on here. There's frequently asked questions and everything, but you can find your way around those, or we'll show you those another time. What I did want to do is give you an overview of how to get to the more detailed information, because the idea of this site is that it will allow you to do all your day-to-day HR and more. So I'm going to show you how that works. So if we go first of all into, I'll take you into the introduction, because that's a gateway to everywhere else, but you can get to it in other ways. if we go to introduction, in every category, what you first of all have is a little bit of some text at the top and at the bottom, and some frequently asked questions. So in this introduction, for example, one of the frequently asked questions is, how do I get to guidance and templates? And it will just tell you how often is the site updated. So, and that's repeated in every area. Then you have your pages of guidance. And as I said, this format is the same in every single category. So you'll get used to how it works. I'm going to start with how to use your HR guide. So what this tells you is some of the things you can do with your HR guide. Now, some of them you can only do with premium membership, but as I said, there's an awful lot you can do with just the regular membership everyone has. So what this says is that you can carry out an HR audit, and I'm going to come back and talk about that in a moment. You can also implement your HR policy documents, and everywhere that it's underlined, this will take you to the category that will help you do that, and I'll take you there in a moment with some of these. You can draft all your HR administration. There's also training documents, appraisals and appraisal forms. There's also data protection relating to HR. It will also give you all the forms, letters and documents you need to manage your HR admin, all the HR policies. You can go through lots of guidance on disciplinaries, absence, holidays, grievance, well-being, and even there's a bit on redundancies and exit. So it really does allow you to everything. There's also a bit that says step-by-step HR. So there's lots and lots of content on here for you. Let me just give you a little bit of a flavour of what happens if you click on one of these. So let's look at contracts. Everyone knows about contracts. If you look at contracts of employment, it will take you to, again, a very similar looking page. These are the pages on here that tell you all the information you need about contracts. And then on every section, there is a section that says templates and downloads. And if we click on here, you'll see that there's all these templates relating to contracts of employment. All the ones, so you could do the written statement, that's a free document. There's an offer letter that's a free document, etc. But I'm just going to whiz back to the introduction and back to how to use. And what I wanted to talk about briefly was the HR audit. So the idea of an HR audit is it would help you identify and look at what you need to put in place and any gaps. So I clicked on the HR audit and it's first of all taken me to a page about HR audits. And it will tell you what to do. And it will give you a little bit of an introduction. So it will say that you can, I won't go through in too much detail, but it will tell you that you can action them and you can give them priorities to say it's an immediate issue, or actions required in, say, 6 months, or actions required in 12 months. And it talks you through how to do it. And then what you have, either here as a link, or you have at the bottom, you have your HR audit document. And I'm going to open this and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Can you see an HR audit document on the screen?
I'm afraid not.
Okay, never mind. Let me see. Any different now?
Yes, it's there now, yeah.
Great. Good old technology. So this is the document that you will see. You can see that it's got HR guidance up. You can change that, put your logo in there. And then the document itself will explain how to do it, but I'll take you through and give you a couple of examples. So this is a very simple document. It's quite a high level audit. So the first thing it says is, do you have an induction onboarding process? And when was it last reviewed? And you can then decide, yes, we do, that's fine, I don't need to take any action, or whether it's a priority. Does every employee go through an induction? Do you have a probationary period of employment? So the way this audit is designed is to start with a new starter and then work its way through. So it's a very logical process, in the same way that your HR guide is a very logical process in terms of its categories. And then you get on to things like, do you have personnel files for every employee? And we've put that as a priority, as a suggestion, because you should have a personnel file for every employee. And there is a section on your HR guide that will talk to you about personnel files and recommend what you should have in your personnel file. It will also talk about data protection, because of course now we have data, the new data protection. It's really important that you follow that guidance, and there's guidance throughout on that. Is this paper file or online? Do you check eligibility to work in the UK for all employees? This is really essential, because if you don't get that bit right, there are fines. And again, we've prioritised that, but there is guidance all the way through to be able to do that. So what we'll do in a moment is we'll go and have a look at some of these things so that you can see how it can allow you to pick up those things. Do you have copies of those documents? Do you take references out? Do you pay everyone the minimum wage? So you can see the idea of it. It's fairly high level. Then it talks about, do you have contracts of employment? Do you issue contracts? It gives you a little bit of a hint here that contracts now have to be issued on day one, but there's more guidance about that. So there's a section on equal opportunities. There's a section on absence. So the idea of this audit is that it allows you, as I said, just to work through, look at the questions, ask yourself what you do and what you don't know, and then you can go and do more to actually, if you don't have something in place, you can go and look at it and put it in place. Or if you do have something in place, you can go and check it to make sure that you're comfortable with what you've got. And that's what the audit is for. And if you print that off and fill it in, or download it and fill it in, it will allow you to monitor where you are, and you can come back and look at it. So now we've looked at that, let's go and have a look at some of the things that it talked about and how the site can help you. So one little hint on here, if you go back and hit the logo at the top, it will always take you back to the main site. So there's several areas we can go to look at, just a couple of things we looked at there. Let's look at eligibility to work in the UK. So one of the things I can type in here is eligibility. And if I do that, what it will do, it will talk about, we've got eligibility to work in the UK, and that's to do with COVID, and we've got a page on that. And this now page will take you through and tell you what you need to do. It will talk about what documents are acceptable. And these have very recently been updated because of the changes in Brexit and everything else. You can see here, it was updated on the 1st of July. So there's all this information for you about that. We also talked about, I'll go back up to here. We also talked about new starters in here. So this will talk to you here about, there was something I know on references. So this will tell you the importance of references. So it will give you an idea about the importance of references and why you should do those things. There is also on here, let me take you to some of the, these are the templates to do with new starters. So we've got recruitment ones, we've got new starters, reference request. So this is a letter that you can use to send out to request references from somebody. So that's that. If we go to our section on policies and procedures, because in the audit it says, do you have the policies and procedures? If we go here, this is a section, again, there's lots of guidance on policies and procedures, telling you what sort of things you should have in place. There's then again, there's a case study on policies and procedures, and then you have all the templates that you need. And there's just about every template that you can think of for HR, for an SME that you will need. And you've got all the family friendly, you've got GDPR, you've got absence, disciplinary, equal opportunities. And this here, I will mention what this is. This is an employee template structure. So what you could do is you could take that document, and what it gives you is it gives you literally a template that you can then slot in all the policies that you want to build your own employee handbook. And that means that also when there are changes, you're notified of any changes and you can update your handbook. So that works really well. And again, just moving around the system a little bit more, there's other ways you can find things. If we're on this page about policies and procedures, I can click on this and it will give me a list of all those pages again, so I can go and look a bit more if I'm still working in this particular section. If you go over here to, I think it's called the burger, you can view very quickly all the categories. So these are just all the categories, just in a list rather than our scrolling, or you can list all the categories with the templates. So if you just wanted to jump to the templates on, let's have a look, holidays, you could just jump to those templates, or you can jump back to absence. So there's lots of ways to work your way around it, to make it very easy to work your way around. And the other thing is that as you're within any document, as we looked at before, I think what I'll do now is I'll go to step by step. So as you're in any document, this is very similar, it will give you links to other related sections. And as I said right at the beginning, if all else fails, go back to the search button and you can actually search for anything you want. So that is a really, really quick overview of how it works. As I said, everything that you need is on this site to put together, to look after HR day-to-day, and to put together that really good HR foundation in terms of all your compliance, policies, procedures, contracts of employment.